weight loss is good because everybody now is focusing on the weight loss aspect of it. Like, okay, they want to lose weight, that is why they exercise or that's why they go on a diet. But people now, we need to begin to shift our focus, especially with the time that we live in now. If there's something you would do, if you follow the trend, if you read the news or you read scientific paper or journals, you will see that now everything is for people who get people who have who get bad hit from the COVID-19 infection, people who got infected and then they had it worse. The people who have either existing medical condition, people who are obese, you know, you have these risk factors that actually predispose people to be, to getting, to getting very sick with the virus. So we were at the point now that we need to begin to say, oh, this thing, when it comes to eating healthy, when it comes to exercise, that, okay, this is beyond weight loss. This is a matter of life and death. That my health, the condition of my health, how I eat, how I move, can actually affect how my body responds to infections, can affect how my body responds to exposure to anything that is foreign, that is coming into it. So it has to be beyond, okay, I want to lose weight, okay, I want to diet to lose weight, I want to exercise to lose weight. It has to go beyond that for us now.
I think that's a very good point, you know, because oftentimes what I see, and I'm not going to put myself out there, but what I see is people who say, well, I have an event coming up in a couple of weeks and I want to look good when I go to, you know, class reunion or whatever the case may be. And nobody really looking at it, as you described, as a lifestyle change for overall health benefit. And so I think that's a very important statement that you're making there. Go ahead, Fred. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Esther, welcome again. So, so after all this, so tell me. So let's jump right into it. Tell me. So, like, what are some of some good foods you eat, and is it good to still go on with the high starch foods if you're coming from where you come from, eba, fufu, pounded yam?
Thank you, my brother. Here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing. We are Africans, like we are Africans, and we know that here, our ancestors, they grew up with tubers. They grew up, their genes have evolved to eat and live with that, with the starchy carbohydrates. And here's the thing, they grew up to eat the saturated fat from palm oil. I'm not talking about animal saturated fat. And that's how they live. That's how they lived for years, and it didn't do them any harm, right? So we, like, personally, and with my clients, and if you look at the people I work with, if you know online, you see a lot of them have lost a lot of weight, many kilograms. You get my point, and they still eat yam. They still eat, you know, they still eat sweet potato and our starchy, the things that we consider starchy. Now, when it comes to eating healthy, it is not just about the type of food that you're eating. How that food is prepared matters. And then the other things, I tell people this all the time. No natural food, every food in its natural state is healthy. It is now when you begin to now refine and process things that will begin to make them unhealthy. Corn is healthy, but now when you begin to cook it, process it, add stuff to it, you can make it unhealthy. So it's not in the food itself, it is in the hand of who is preparing it, who is processing it. That is number one. And then how much do you eat? Okay? Because now I can say, okay, it's okay to eat yam, it's okay to eat gari, but now if I eat gari, but that is like I eat 3 days worth of meal in one sitting. You remember these foods that we have, these our starchy carbohydrates, they are highly calorie dense. So you have to be careful, you have to be aware of the fact that what I am eating is calorie dense. So I cannot eat like a farmer when I'm sitting in the office to work. Because the person in the village, people who do farming, who do a lot of energy intense, they can afford to eat much calories. They can afford to eat like one big bowl of garri or one big bowl of yam. But you are just sitting from morning till evening. So now you will now blame the weight gain on the eba, on the cassava, on the fufu. No, it is not the fufu. It is how much you have eaten. You get my point. So fufu is healthy because it's natural. You've not added anything to it. Yeah, it is starch, but starches are not unhealthy. It is how much you eat from there. So our African foods are healthy. It is how much do you eat? Are you eating? Are you walking like an ant and eating like an elephant? These are the things that we need to be aware of as we eat our local foods.
So would that also apply to oily foods like fried chicken, and then fried chicken and anything kind of fried thing, the fried such as or rice, fried rice, anything like that?
Fried rice, that I said something about it is not the natural food, it is the processing now. Because now when you're talking about fried chicken now, we are bringing some level of processing into that meal. Okay, the chicken is a chicken is a chicken. How do you cook it? How do you prepare it? So if I boil it or grill it or just boil it and eat it like that, it has less calorie. But now when I begin to fry it, the oil adds additional calories. Apart from that fact, that is we're looking from the weight perspective of weight loss, that cooking that chicken in oil has additional calories to it. If I cook it just in water that is boiling or just cooking it with soup, I've not fried it. You get the point I'm trying to make. So now when I fry the chicken, what have I done? I have added more calories to it, and then health-wise, okay, the frying food produces some chemicals, especially if you use bad oil to fry it. You get the point I'm making. So all these things adds up at the end of the day. So it is not just about the chicken now, it is the processing. Now, how do you process it? You are frying it. And some people will even add some other stuff, butter and all the rest of it to fry. Then we are taking the chicken to another level, another unhealthy level. That is when it becomes an issue. The same thing with yam. You can make your yam into sweet, to just yam, boil it and eat with vegetables. But you can fry that yam and then add a lot of things to it. So it is not the yam, it is how it has been cooked. And it is not the chicken, it is how it has been cooked.
I feel some type of way about us talking about fried chicken today. I'm judged. No. I think one of the things, and again, with the way that American cuisine is set up here, is a lot of people don't even know kind of what is appropriate to eat and what's not. Because, America, here we operate very differently. We have McDonald's on every corner. We know that's bad, right? But it's cheap and people can eat it because it's readily accessible. Healthy foods here are very expensive, right? And a lot of people, particularly folks from my community, aren't able to access the healthier foods, at least not in the same bulk size as you can getting something cheap and filling an empty space. So I want to ask you, for people who are trying to navigate this space and find what's healthy, what is the ultimate benefit or the ultimate goal for eating healthy? Because I think if people understand why you shouldn't eat McDonald's every day, it might help to say, okay, let me put this money together to try to go shoot for the more expensive.
You're breaking. I can't hear you now. You are breaking. Can you please repeat what you just said?
Oh yeah, I was trying to figure out if you could tell the people what the benefit is of the healthier food, given the fact that many of them, at least here, healthier food is more expensive and it's hard to be able to afford on a consistent basis, as opposed to all the trash food that they give to you for cheap every day.
You know what is funny is in Nigeria, where I live, the food that is cheap in the US are actually the most expensive ones here. And then the ones that are expensive in the US are the cheap ones here. Like the fruits, the vegetables, the healthy stuff are they're kind of cheap. And then the bad stuff, okay, maybe it's because they are kind of foreign food, like they are westernized food, they are way more expensive here. And you have special places where people go to buy them. So your average restaurant in Nigeria, they actually serve the local dishes. Then you have, where people, all these countries that are just for this, this westernized type of food. So for the people in the West, you can't go wrong with, I know it's cheap to buy the junks, the McDonald's and all the rest, they are cheap to buy. But then always that these things are not good for your health. And I know for this time that we live in that money is hard, getting money is hard this time, but you can't go wrong with vegetables, you can't go wrong with food, especially those of us who are African, I don't mean I mean my African American brothers and sisters. You can't go wrong with vegetables. You can't go wrong. And again, remember I said it is how you prepare your meal. So what you want to do is try to make your own meal by yourself. Because if you do that, I don't know how cheap it is to buy not just some vegetables or some fruits, buy some chicken. Just start from there. Don't try to go organics yet. Start from the regular, traditional, whatever. Buy them. I read that in the farmers market you may get even things cheaper. So get things that are in season and then cook. I think it starts with you having the time to prepare your own food. I know some of our brothers and sisters in the US, they work more than one jobs. So what you can do is when you buy this food, thank God you have lights, constant light. You are not like us. Your light is constant. So you can actually buy your food and do food preparation maybe 2 times a week, that you can just cook this food and put in your fridge, okay, or refrigerator as you people call it. So you can't go wrong with vegetables, you can't go wrong with fruits, you can't go wrong with your chicken, with your beef. Just buy and cook your own thing in the house. It starts from there, because what you cook in the house you have control over. And then when you're cooking in the house, you also want to be careful, look for healthy recipes. If it's not healthy, you have to ask yourself, is this thing healthy? It's not healthy. So look for healthy recipes and then buy the ingredients and start making your own food. I think it will be cheaper if you make your own thing by yourself in the house.
Wow. Anyway, Kechi says, welcome. Kechi is on the using our the Pan-African handle.
Hey, Kechi.
All right. So yeah, if I'm hearing right, so the trick is to know what you're doing and to cook yourself. That way you know what's going in rather than buying.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, because you have more control. You have more control over. If you buy something, let's even take for instance, what's it called now? I'm looking for a popular food in the US. What do they call it? Mac and cheese or something?
Yeah,
Yes.
If you buy it outside, if you buy the mac and cheese outside, you don't know what else is inside of it. You don't know but maybe it's McDonald's or Kentucky Fried Chicken, whichever way you buy it, or flip a cheese. What do they call the other one? All of them. You know what they have added. You know what they have added. Yes. So, but if you make your own in the house, I'm not saying it is healthy, but if you make your own, I'm just using that as an example. If you make your own in the house, okay, I have added this and this and this to this that I am eating. But the one you buy from the restaurant, you don't know what they have added. You don't know the chemicals and all the other things, apart from the main ingredients. These people had so many other things that humans should not consume on a regular basis. At the end of the day, the poison is in the dose. You use this condiment for your food, it is not good. Maybe you use it once in a while, but this restaurants, they use it every single day, and then you go and eat with them every single day. So you're just, again, the poison is in the dose. You bombard your body with these things that should not, and they accumulate and then begin to cause troubles into the body. So it's about prepare your own thing as much as you can. Limit how much you eat outside. As I said before, I'm aware that a lot of people in the US, you have to work more than one job, you have all these things going on. But again, if it's just once a week, you can prepare your meal. It's about planning ahead, make the meal prep, and then keep in your fridge or refrigerator, as you people call it.
Yeah, I think that's great information. I want to shift a little bit to talk about kind of this new age we're living in 2020 and the impact that COVID has had on kind of how you do your trainings and your advice. What impact has COVID had? Is it taken away some of the physical activities and physical interactions with other people, or have you like converted to an online format? What has changed?
Come again, please.
So I was trying to figure out how COVID has impacted your fitness.
Impacted my business. Oh, okay. Yeah, but no, before COVID, I actually was, you've known me we've known each other for how many years now since Periscope came out? Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, I have always done online business. I've done my work online. Like I've started doing online programs since 2014. So when COVID came, even before now, the government just opened the gym in Nigeria this week. Just opened on Tuesday, on today's Saturday, this week, yeah. They just opened. They closed the gym down since March. But the way I work, I'm a personal trainer and a group exercise instructor. So for my group classes, I work as an independent instructor for gyms. So I'm not under in their payroll. So I take classes for them. They pay me. Then for my personal training, it's my own personal business. I have clients that I work with. So for my group classes, we closed down. Most of the gyms I work with closed down since February because people were no longer coming. No, it was novel. The virus was novel. Nobody knew what was going to happen. We didn't know how deadly it was. Things were just still not clear where we were going, and people were afraid. So people stopped coming to the gyms. So most of the gyms I take classes for closed down in February, even before the government closed down businesses in March. Then my personal training sessions also, I had to stop by the end of February. So by then I knew, because I read a lot, I read research journals and all of that. This thing we don't know yet. So and because I've always done online programs. That's like 80% of my income before COVID was coming from my online businesses, on my online training program. So when COVID came, I just then moved finally online so it didn't affect me personally, but it affected a lot of trainers in Nigeria, a lot of gyms, people who were just doing the traditional training because now they were not prepared. A lot of it was just the gym, but for those of us who were already doing online stuff for years, it was just like, okay. So my income actually grew during that time because I was prepared, sort of. Yeah. So and now I do my personal training from the house. My group classes I do from the house. I use Zoom and I do challenges, that are not even that are nutrition based. So these are actually helped. And I'm not going back to the gym, even though they've opened. I'm not going back this year. I'm still continuing online stuff.
I've had that same conversation. I got to give it a test run and see what happens to everybody else.
Well, that's good. So that's a lesson to all of us. We always have to make sure we find a way to, capitalize on the internet, on working for yourself from home, which is really important. So like you see, Esther, although things shut down, her income actually went up, and all of us should be able to have this testimony.
So people follow all those rules, and then the fact that people don't eat any nonsense here, that is the truth. People eat our local foods, and I think that has come. And then, of course, our cross immunity, as some scientists are theorizing that the cross immunity from other viruses, parasites may have helped us because they can't. Why has this thing not eaten Africa hard as it has the Western countries? So I think that's maybe one of the reasons. It's an hypothesis. People need to now say, okay, let's see what has really happened.
Yeah, good. I'm glad that's the case because scientists. I mean, when it started, you had people like Bill Gates say, "Oh, was it his wife? We're gonna in African
It was
countries.
his wife, it's Belinda, that they will come since on the street of Africa. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even me, the thing is, I know people blamed her for that, but even me, I had the same, because if you look at Italy, it was, when you say, as it was so scary, like, see dead weights, I'm like, oh God, this thing is going to wipe out the whole world. And then judged by history, what happened in 1918 or 1902, the flu pandemic. So that was like something people were saying, oh, are we in that? Are we in another era of something like that to happen? So nobody knew. It was something that was novel. Nobody knew what to expect. So I think that was why they made all those predictions or prophecies. Yeah.
Yeah, I think another thing is also there's this issue about certain people in leadership in certain places not taking things seriously until it has already become a catastrophe. And so I think part of it is understanding that, viruses are things that can spread relatively quickly, particularly if we're talking about a humanly transmitted virus and people have companies and airports and things where people cross over. So I'm just, one of the things I do want to talk to you about, because I would be remiss in my duty if I did not do this. You are a business owner. And for a lot of people here, this is something that they aspire to be. This is something that they want to do. And this is the most inspirational thing that they've ever seen. So I was wondering if you might be willing to share with us kind of what made you want to go out and be an entrepreneur, and how do you maintain your success?
No, of course, yes. There's a difference between being a professional and then being a business owner. There are two different things. For a long time, I worked as a professional, even though I say I'm self-employed. I was just working as a professional. So what I have learned and what I'm working towards now and trying to put the proper processes in place is, number one, you have to know your stuff, what you're doing. Okay, whatever business that you want to go into, let it be, especially if it's a service business or it's any business that requires any professional licenses, certification, knowledge, or so. Make sure that you get proper training. If you need to get licensed, certified, because it starts with there. Like in my industry, you have a lot of people now who have lost 1.1 kg and they claim they are fitness professionals. But I tell people, I say, see, at the end of the day, you're dealing with human body, you're dealing with biology, you're dealing with chemistry, you're dealing with physics. If you don't have, so it's movement you're dealing with muscle, you're dealing with cardiovascular system. If you don't have the fundamental knowledge of how each of these systems works, you're not going to succeed. You're not going to succeed as a professional. And how do you get that? You need to get the primary certifications. So for every industry, they have their, maybe you have to go to the college to get some degree and all of that. Each industry has their own. So if you're going out you want to start a business, be sure, except you want to be selling stuff. If you're selling stuff, that is different. But if it's going to be a service business, let it be a business that you have some body of knowledge or skill level in, so that you're not, except you have money now, you want to now hire people. And even then, you need to have knowledge in that business, because otherwise, people will just, especially if you live in a part of the world that I live in, where. So if you want to start a business, make sure you have some knowledge in that line of work. That is number one. Then number two, processes matters important. It matters a lot, because you can, except you want just to stay self-employed, and that is a path that people may want to take. So do you want to build something that will go beyond you, or you want to say, let me just stay, I don't want to work for anybody, I just want to be self-employed, be able to take care of my family, And that's a part also that is good. Then you need to plan the finances of the business, separate your personal money. You will hear that all the time. I have been there. Seriously, separate your personal money from the business money. There was a book that I read that has helped me a lot. It's called Profit First. As a professional, you focus so much on the technical part of your business, your knowledge, your skill, and then you don't focus on the finances. That book helped me a lot. Profit First. If you get, I've forgotten the name of the author, but the title is Profit. But in terms of finances, it has helped me so that you start with profit. You must make profit as you start your business. If your business cannot make profit, then there is no reason to go on in that business. So profit. Then the people, if you are going to employ people, matters also. The people you are going to work with, are you going to go into partnership with another person who has a complementary skill to yours, or you want to hire people to work with you? But at the end of the day, all these things must start with something that you have knowledge in. That is very important, because that is the foundation. That's fundamental. Then your profit, you have to put profit for that, getting your finances in good condition, and then you can then start bringing in people. Well, I tell people, don't go and now that the time we are in now, it has shown us is so many businesses actually can be done from the house.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
don't start with let me go and rent one office space or whatever somewhere. Like now, if I flip my camera, I'm sitting. This place I'm sitting used to be my bedroom. So this is my closet, like my wardrobe. You call it closet. It's my wardrobe, this part. So I removed the whole wall wardrobe, turn this side to like where I can do administrative work, and then the rest of the room is where I do exercise, where I do my training. Then I move my bedroom to my visitors room. My visitors room is my bedroom now. So I'm working from the house now. My personal training clients that used to come to our house now, they say, "Esther, don't come again." They are working with me online now. And before, if you tell them online, they're like, no, it won't work. But when COVID came, they had no option than to do online. But now they thought, why am I even troubling myself? This thing works, and they're okay. Now we are back. But they said, let's continue online. And I'm not going back to work now. Even my group classes, some of them are back. The gym is back, but they are still doing online with me, because they say, why do I have to drive all the way to the gym when I can do the workout in the house? So there are some of the businesses we do, we can actually do maybe 80% of it from the house. So instead of putting too much money at the start, because that's one of the reasons people don't start their businesses, they don't have enough capital. So now that COVID has taught us that you can actually get a lot done online, can you cut down the cost and say, okay, which part of this business can I actually deliver on the internet? Do I really need to go and rent because the more you rent a space, that makes the cost of running the business go up. So can you reduce the cost? Can you work from the house and reduce the cost and then go from there? We don't all have to go and rent a space or whatever to do our work at the start, of course.
Right down. Yeah, do everything. It's all about running a business, it's all about cutting costs and maximizing profits. And when you can lower your overhead, and you're golden. Yeah, so that's you're dead on. You're right. And COVID-19 has taught us that you can work from home. You can do a lot of things that we never figured out we could do from home, and it's been a blessing in disguise. Go ahead, Jesse.
No, that was all good, because I think it's important for people to understand. One, I think understanding what you're doing in a business and what kind of business and industry that you're getting involved in. When I have businesses, I always operate from the motto, I'm trying to do this as free as possible. But I agree, you have to minimize costs. And I think there's an image that a lot of people, particularly, folks across the diaspora, if you're in a place where it's not a lot of people who look like you, who run businesses or anything like that, there's an image that you have to say, in order to run a business, I need to have a storefront. I need to have, a nice outfit or a nice car or this or that. And by the time you calculate all of the things that you think you're supposed to have, you've already overspent anything that you're going to generate. So there is, yeah, I think COVID-19 has introduced us to a simpler
Yes.
way of operating. And, you know, for me, I feel like part of operating the business too is kind of what Esther alluded to. You have to treat people right. Right. So there's a lot of people who own businesses, but they treat people like crap. It's like you won't be open for very long. You have to do right. You have to follow through with your commitments. And that's, you know, regardless of whether or not you're going to be sued or not, people are going to talk about your business. Like we got social media here. People go on Instagram or Yelp and do reviews about how great or how bad your stuff is. So I think it's very important for people who are interested in doing this, understanding that human touch and understanding how to be accommodating for folks who want to frequent your business. But that's all good information.
Yes, that's good.
So Esther, why don't we switch gears and go to working out? And yeah. So what is more? Of course, you've established that diet is the most important. But working out, how many hours is ideal for you to work out? Do you have to work out?
I think the most important.
What is it?
Diet is important.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said. I said it's been established that the diet is more important. But what I'm saying is, working out, how many hours a week? It's ideal.
Can one exercise?
Or how many?
It depends on the goal. You know, it depends on the goal of the person. For a lot of people, when they work out, they are thinking of, I want to lose weight alone. Okay, that's what they are thinking about. But if you're thinking about health, okay, so there are different components of fitness. You have strength, you have, and I tell people, you know, if, as I said with the nutrition, if the focus is only on weight loss, people are actually missing a lot, because as we grow older, things begins to fall apart, and it is the exercise that we do, how we move, that helps us to maintain strength, to maintain flexibility, to maintain mobility. So when you're doing your workout, it's not just about one thing, it's about how do I incorporate all these elements of fitness into my routine. And that is when hiring a trainer or working with a coach matters, somebody who knows what they are doing. Because a lot of people now is like, oh, maybe it's to jump. What's the big deal? It's to jump and lift. I can do it myself. But you need, no, I'm serious. That's what people think. Because people just think, what's the big deal about exercise? You know, but of course, if you know what you're doing, if you understand what you're doing, that's okay. You can do it yourself if you know what you are doing. But if you don't know what you're doing, and then your goal, again, it comes back to goal. What's your goal? Is it just now to look good now, or you want to be okay? I want to live to be 90, to be 70. I'm preparing for my old age so that from now I build the body that I can live in and can still function well on into my 70, into my 80, into my 90. Then if that is the goal, if longevity and durability is the goal, so because you want the body, I tell people, why do I want to be 80 and then I'm bedridden? I don't want that. If I'm going to live to be 80, I want a durable body. So how I am training now, how I treat my body in training, how I recover, everything is based on my longevity plan. Of course, yeah, you can go on the road tomorrow and then a cab knocks you down and you are out. But I'm not, of course, that does not happen every day, and that may not happen. So I'm going to just prepare my body for long life. If I go out tomorrow, fine. But as long as I'm here, I'm planning for. So goal is important. So I tell people, when it comes to fitness, even with eating, do not focus on weight loss alone. Focus on how does this thing affect my body. Food is information. How does exercise change my body? What does it do? I want to live longer. I want my knees to carry me for long. I want my hips to be okay. How do I train so that these parts of my body stay healthy, they stay mobile, they stay doable for that long time? So for exercise, you want to incorporate strength, you want to incorporate mobility, you, of course, cardiovascular health, you want to incorporate power. Now, when I mean power by definition is how you generate force, the speed at which you generate force. As people grow older, that speed, if another person wants to, maybe they want to open something, you understand? How much force can you generate? So, as a younger person, you can just open a jar, but another person, they may not be able to generate enough force to turn that lid, to open it. So, but you can begin to prepare for that. Move it, okay, how do I continue to develop my power? Of course, as you do all of that, you're going to stay thin, you're going to stay lean. That is the truth. For now, the benefit now is that that's going to make you stay lean. You have good body composition, but it's also so you have two for the price of one. It's keeping you lean and looking good now, then preparing you for aging as you grow older, is preparing you so that you get better and better. So you want to incorporate. You asked how many hours, and then I went into another thing. So basically, the goal, you want to incorporate. So let's say start, depending on if just health and fitness is the goal, start with 3 to 4 times a week, incorporate cardio, incorporate strength, okay, mobility and all of that into the training. Start with like 3 to 4 times a week, and then most importantly, make sure you stay active throughout the day. Move as much as you can throughout the day. 10,000 steps. I read a recent study that showed that people who take 10,000 steps a day, there was a study, I think they followed them for maybe 1 year. I can't remember how long they followed them. And they found out that they had, what's it called, the biomarkers, blood biomarkers of insulin sensitivity, of blood pressure, and all of that was improved. So move more throughout the day. That is very important. But then your structured physical activity, make sure you incorporate 3 to 4 times a week, 30 minutes to 1 hour. Because if you do it well, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, you should be done. Even if you are incorporating everything in, you're done 3 to 4 times a week. And if you have more time, you can do 5 times a week. Add stretching, meditation. Things, so you're not just taking care of your body, you're also taking care of your mind. You're taking care of the peace of mind in terms of meditation or prayer, not the type of prayer we do in Africa, Mr. Fred, not the African type of prayer, but the Western type of prayer, the cool, that can actually.
There's both ways. You can do both ways. The African way and then the calm way.
Yeah, so that's the African way of prayer will raise your blood pressure. You want the thank you God kind of prayer that cools, that brings your blood pressure down.
There's if you're a believer like us, you there's also a time where you have to be quiet and listen to the inner spirit, or God speaking to your inner spirit. So
yes.
You can't always be, noisy and make a lot of noise. So I totally agree with you. Well, some comments.
Yeah. And that's actually, for what you just said, Fred, I wear this is the fitness watch. This is Samsung Active 2 watch that I wear all the time. And what I notice when I'm doing my quiet time, so I do, like you're reading in the morning, you're reading the Bible, I do that as a meditation, like my contemplative meditation. That's how I use it. I actually sit down, read, and take long time. By the time I'm done, my heart rate, most time from that, my heart rate goes as low as 49
Really?
beats per minute.
Really?
I'm serious. In that posture, I just sit down, I read, and I'm just in that total quietness. My heart rate goes as down, so I take that as my meditation because I do it on purpose. Everything is, I've tuned out everything. I'm into that, what I'm studying, and I'm just calming down, heart rate drops, and it goes like 49 beats per minute. Even when I sleep, my heart rate is usually 45 beats per minute. But when I'm doing that contemplative meditation that I do with the Bible, it goes as low as 49. So that can actually be your meditation. It can actually bring your heart rate down. So that quietness and,
Right on. Also, we have a few comments. I think Kechi. It says, I agree, exercise is essential and it's not just about losing weight. So she agrees with you. And then it says, please put your, okay. And then I hope I stay consistent with 4 times a week. So I believe that's a good comment. And could you comment on that about consistency?
Yeah, the thing is this consistency. You want me to talk on consistency?
Yeah, consistency.
Is that what you're asking?
Yes, that's what I'm
Do you
asking.
want me to talk about? Okay, so here's the thing. When people talk about exercise and they say they can't stay consistent, so which one can you not stay consistent with? Okay, because if you're talking, start with, if you want to be consistent, start with something that you love. If you love to dance, start with that. Dancing is not always, because dancing is just cardio, but start with that. So if you stay consistent with that, right, then how do you improve on that? If you like to walk, go for a walk. Walking is not a big deal for a lot of people. Then go walk. If you like to dance, you can dance in the house, do that. Then after that, you need to remember that it is not just about cardio fitness alone. You are looking at strength improvement, you are looking at power improvement. So would you start, can you start with 1 time a week with that? So let's say you are dancing for like 3 days a week. Can you then hire a trainer or something if that will keep you accountable? Because when you are saying inconsistency, it is the time. Is it that you don't have the time or you don't have the willingness? So if it's the willingness now, that is the issue, willingness to do it, then start with what you can do. Okay. Okay, can you go for a walk? If that does not sound like a big exercise to you, then start with that. Just go for the walk. Then after a month, when you have, so okay, I've been consistently, I've walked for 3 to 4 times a week. Then if you do that for 1 month, then you can say, okay, let me add something extra 1 day a week. So don't try to do too much too soon, because if you are not consistent and then you put in intensity, see, consistency is more important than intensity. So start with what you can be consistent with before you now add too much, because the intensity can become overwhelming and then you don't even do anything at all.
How important is pre-exercise stretching?
How what?
Stretching before you go exercise? How important?
Oh, stretching. Okay. You need to warm up before exercise. You need mobility. You don't need to do, when people say stretching, a lot of people, they are thinking about static stretching. That's something that you hold. Let's say I'm doing this now. This is a static stretch. Okay. I'm doing static. Oh, which hand? That's it. You understand. But you don't need something like that when you want to, especially those of you who live in the west because of the cold. I live here, I can know it's hot here, so my muscle is always at least warm, but your muscle is cold, so you actually need to gradually make the muscle warm. So you don't want to stretch a cold muscle. So what you actually need is dynamic warm-up. Okay, dynamic warm-up, something that will move your whole body, not something that is too static. So you want to jog, not jog like that, maybe some squats, some lunges, overhead squats, something to get your muscle warmed. Then you can do your stretching after your workout. Even if you are stretching before the workout, let it be dynamic stretch. Then you can do your static stretching after the workout.
Right on. So, okay, so Kechi is saying that, let me put a question up. So he said, I've good height and get some quietness, girl. My house is so noisy with 2 million kids. And even with virtual.
Oh, yeah.
So
that has been a lot of challenge for parents.
So what are some tips, if any, for people, busy people like Kechi and single, like mom, maybe single moms or parents?
Yeah, oh, you are frozen. I can't hear.
Can you hear me?
Uh-oh.
Okay, I can see you now, but I can't hear.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now. I
Oh, okay.
can
Yeah.
hear now.
Yeah. So I said, what advice? What are some practical ways you can go around for busy parents?
Period. So I know for parents now it's a bit more with kids at home with homeschooling. So what you can do if it's for workout, which is okay, I have to go out to get some quietness. So if it is for the workout, what you can do is you can actually try to let's say 5 minutes at a time. Can you still 5 minutes at a time? Just stand up and jog somewhere in place. That's an option. So if you can do that like 3 times a day throughout the day, if you can do 5 to 10 minutes, just break it down. Can you just dance anyhow? It doesn't have to be something structured, but we're talking about getting you to move now in this time because you need it more now. You need to move more now than ever before it. So if it's at 10 minutes, 15 minutes you can get, do it something quickly. If you can do it before the kids wake up, you get my point. That's even good. So get it done quickly and it's out of the way, and then you just then move, as much as you can throughout the day. But if it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you can do before they wake up, or throughout the day, you can just still some 5 minutes, 10 minutes here and there, 3 times, 2 to 3 times throughout the day. It's good. That is what you have now. You have to make do with what's available now.
Go ahead, Jesse.
Well, I was just going to echo some of Ketchy's same deals. Like I've got a child at home that's virtually learning. And then on top of that, there's the fact that I sit at a computer for the large portion of the day. And I know that's not healthy. And so what I have been trying to do is incorporate walking, because I think walking is, I think it's easier for me to get to. I used to have a routine, and I credit Esther for this routine because she had told me 2 things that I always kept in the back of my mind. She told me to cut down on sugars. So I did that for a while and had lost a lot of weight. And then I had been going to exercise, but I was doing the gym thing. So I was going to the gym 3 times a week, and I was feeling good about myself. My mentality was new. I thought everything was great. And then COVID-19 came. it's like, okay, now I'm back to the donuts and all the food that I was depressed eating about anyway. So I think this is all good information. And my problem is, and I don't know if you've come across this, Esther, my issue is I am so much better with exercise than I am with dieting. And it's to the point that people actually laugh at me because they're like, you're just literally eating the calories that you finished burning off while you were working out. How do you like reconfigure your mind to say, all right, I'm going to eat healthy because I want to see this result pay off?
What I tell people, where people can start with is this. When it comes to eating healthy or losing weight, okay, let's take losing weight as an example. There are 3 levers you have to pull, okay? Because it all comes down to being able to create calorie deficit. So there are 3 ways you can do that. You can restrict the time that you eat. We call it time restricted feeding. You can cut down, restrict how many calories you eat. That means, let's say you are eating 10 loaves of bread per day. I know nobody does that. I want to believe so. So you cut down to 5 loaves. You cut down to 5 loaves per day. So that reduction alone, you have reduced your caloric intake. Or you can say, okay, carbohydrates are my problem. I'm going to cut down on carbohydrates in particular. Okay, I'm not going to eat starchy carbohydrates and sugar at all. I'll just stick with vegetables. So you have these 3 things you can do. Restrict the hours that you eat during the day, time restricted feeding. Reduce how much you eat by cutting down on foods. And then, excuse me, and then restrict food group. So I tell people, when people want to start a diet program or a weight loss or whatever, what they do basically, what do? they cut down on how many calories they are eating, and then they remove food group like carbohydrates are the evil. We are not eating carbohydrates again. I am eating 2,000 calories, but then I'm going to be eating 500. And then what happened is they are only able to do that for 2 weeks. After the 2 weeks, what happened? They go back to how they were eating before. Why? Because they started too intensely. As I said before, consistency is more important than intensity. So what I tell people, if you are a beginner, of course, I want challenges. And even in my challenges that is intense in terms of what people are doing, I tell them, see, you cannot maintain this intensity forever. So I teach them before the program is over. After this program, this is what you need to do. You can't, if you cannot continue this way forever. It's not possible. It is too advanced. Of course, in this challenge, you are doing advanced stuff. So I tell them at the beginning, this is how we're going to do this advanced stuff. But when it is over, this is how I want you to live. So people start with advanced stuff that they cannot maintain. So they do it for 2 weeks. And then they say, this thing is hard. Oh, they go back to normal life. Yeah. So what do? Start with what is easy. It will be a bit hard, but it is easy. So I usually tell people to start with time restricted feeding. If I have a challenge, a free challenge called Meal Timing Challenge. It's a simple challenge that if you're a beginner, what you do, start eating we switch your feeding to like 11 to 12 hours window. So let's say you start eating from like 8 o'clock in the morning. Stop eating around 8 o'clock in the evening. Do not eat past 8 o'clock in the night. And then between those meals, between your 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., after your breakfast, leave 4 hours space before you have your lunch. Do not snack. Do not eat anything in between your breakfast and lunch, and your dinner and lunch, and your lunch and dinner. That alone, number one, a lot of people can handle that, because what people get to know is that they are not actually hungry in between meals. They were craving, and they were giving in to their cravings. Because if you are hungry, you know, I cannot eat now until 4 hours later. If it is true hunger, you will know. If it is not true hunger, you know, I just want to eat this thing. Let me just wait. And then 4 hours later, before they have it. So that little change alone, it's not much, but that little change alone, people do that. They can lose like maybe 2 to 3 kg in a month. It may not be too big, but if you continue like that without change, now you are not even changing what you are eating. No, it is just you're working with the timing of your food when you eat. That is the only thing you have changed. Then after you have mastered that, okay, if you are a beginner, I'm talking about, after you have mastered that, let's say for like a month, 2 months, you have done that consistently, then you can ask, okay, let me add another thing. So you're doing things that stack. So that is one habit, meal timing, restricting when you eat. It's a habit. You have practiced it for 2 months, you have mastered it, then you want to start another habit on it. Okay, so that way it is easier for your brain to grasp and to master and to create the pathway, the neuronal pathway, so that this thing you become a master of that habit. But what people do is they want to stack so many things together at once, like people don't know that it's different habits. Your exercise is a habit, right? Good nutrition is a habit. Even under good nutrition, even under exercise, some people just like to just go and run from here to Accra. That's what they want to do. If you tell them to come and lift weight, it's an issue. So running is a habit they have mastered. Now they want to start lifting, which is another habit they want to master. So you want to stack things on each other, small by small. You don't want to stack 10 habits at once. It will be too overwhelming. So for the nutrition, start with time restricted feeding. If you have done that for a few weeks, you have mastered it, then start another habit on it. The same thing with exercise. If you're starting with, I'm walking for 30 minutes a day, that's fine. Then do not stay there forever. After you have mastered that, then start another habit on it.
Right on.
So that's my suggestion.
Okay, can you talk about the intake of sugar and what is good? Added sugar, brown sugar. What about honey or like fruits rich fruits rich in sugar like watermelon or bananas. Any comment on all of the above?
Yes, sugar is sugar. Glucose is glucose. That is it. Sugar is sugar. Whichever way you look at it, whether it's from 100% fruit juice, whether it's from honey, whether it's from table sugar, at the end of the day, it is still glucose. Now, how it comes in matters. So if I take a bottle of Coca-Cola, let's say it has 10, I don't know, maybe it has 12 grams of sugar in it. And
27.
then I take,
27.
let me not people use Coca-Cola. I'm going too far. Let's say I take, sir?
I said 27. Coca-Cola has 27.
Okay, I'm even going too far. Let me not use Coca-Cola. Let me use orange juice. Let's say I squeeze the orange juice in my house. It is me that made it. 100% orange juice. A glass of orange juice. Let's say it has 20 grams of sugar in it. But that same orange, let's say I've used 10 oranges to make that glass of orange juice. If that is, how is that sugar is going to be delivered as liquid, right? My body is going to assimilate it quickly. But if I eat the orange, let's suppose I eat 10 oranges. Now, the way the sugar is going from that same, it's the same quantity or the same 20 grams. I'm just using 20 grams, I don't mean 20 grams is what you get from it. The same 20 grams of sugar that I have in the orange juice is the same 20 grams that I have in the orange fruit. But the difference in the two is this. The orange juice is already pre-digested because I extracted the juice. I've processed it. It is processed. So I'm taking in sugar in its liquid form, sugar in a form that can easily enter my bloodstream, spike up my blood glucose. But if I eat the food, that food has fiber in it. I won't even be able to eat 10 oranges at once because of the amount of fiber in that orange. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's say I eat it. The fiber is going to buffer the release of glucose into the bloodstream. So the rate at which the glucose will be released from orange juice is different from the rate it's going to be released from the fruit itself, from the orange fruit itself. So what I'm saying is this: sugar, at the end of the day, how is it packaged? What is it packaged in? What is it coming with? My yam that I eat, its final thing is glucose. It's carbohydrate, it's glucose. The broccoli that you eat is carbohydrate. Final breakdown is glucose. But they are not coming in as glucose alone. They're not coming as sugar. They're coming in bonds of fiber, in bonds of complex carbohydrates that your body will need time to break down. Now, if I've added sugar in food or honey is coming in as sugar. The bonds can be easily broken down because it's simple carbohydrate, right? Now, at the end of the day, the poison is in the dose. I've repeated that like how many times today? So if, let's say I want to take, I want to look at food. Okay, let's say you want to do your cereal. What do people add sugar or honey to? I don't add sweetener to anything. So you want to add honey to your cereal. If you have if that cereal, I'm assuming that cereal is 100% whole grain, let's say overnight oats, that is just plain oats, and then you add, so that means it doesn't have any other extra from the manufacturer. It's just the plain oats that you have. So if you put that honey on toast, thank you. Why would you put honey on toast? Why would you do that? You people have sweet tooths. You Americans, you have sweet tooths. Why would you put honey on your toast? Just eat the bread. Just eat the thing like that. Okay, so let's say you are putting honey on your toast. let's say it's whole grain, whole wheat bread, but remember that bread already they've added sugar to it. They've added some sugar to it. So you are adding a lot of sugar in that meal. Okay, but let's use the oatmeal. Let's say the oat is whole grain oats, just plain oats, nothing added. If you add your honey to that, yeah, because of the fiber in the oats, it may help to balance the buffer. Then remember, I said before, what that sugar is coming in with. So if you have milk, let's say 100%, maybe a plant milk or something, then the quantity of that sugar, remember your oat is also carbohydrates, it's going to be finally broken down to sugar. So how much sugar do you want in your blood? Because some people who don't look at this, and how does this affect your health? Now, this brings me to something. Do you know that there's what we call postprandial inflammation? It's an immune response. Okay, so anytime you eat anything, the body actually goes into inflammation mode. Why? Because that is the immune system raises your inflammation in case you ingest something that could be harmful, so that it can launch that innate attack against that thing. It's a physiological process that happens every time we eat. Now, sugar and fat elicit the highest postprandial inflammation. So protein elicits the lowest. So imagine now if you are eating a lot of sugar and at once, your inflammation is going to go way up. Now, this thing should be an acute inflammation. It should be an acute process because your body needs that. Now, if you are loading your body with a lot of sugar and fat, what happens? What should be acute becomes chronic. So your body is constantly in this inflammation mode. So these are apart from weight gain, these are the other things that are going on in our body that we can't see. How does this food affect your immune system? What is the immune response? What is the metabolic response to this food? These are the things that I think people need to focus on beyond taste, beyond weight. How does this thing affect the things that I cannot see? I can see my weight, but the part that I cannot see, how does this thing affect it?
Wow, that's a lot of knowledge. Anyway, Repons has been really engaging over here. REPON. She first suggested a book. Buy the book Craven Mind by Judson Brewer. Craven Mind by Judson.
Okay.
I guess she was talking about the cravens.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
And she likes what she's saying. She said wisdom. She thought she give a comment that wisdom.
Thank you.
And then she talked about the toast. All right.
Yeah, she was the one that talked about the toast, like only on toast. Only on toast. Okay.
Okay, there we go. And Kechi says, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kechi.
Esther knows what she's talking about, because once I took that sugar out, it was like, wow, I'm a whole new person. You feel better. And I don't know what they put in the sugar over here, because I think we put sugar in everything. So it's sweet tea.
Yeah, you guys eat a lot of. You put sugar in fruit juices. Like people add sugar to fruit juices. You add sugar to fruit salad. Fruit is sweet. Why adding sugar to it? Thank you, Jeremy. You add sugar to everything.
And then Repon says, what about coffee?
What about coffee? Yeah, again, coffee, black coffee, yeah, you can do it. But now it's the other things you begin to add to these things. That is when it becomes the problem. And I think what I personally, I think the reason why there are this high level obesity pandemic in the state is the fact that people add a lot of things to stuff they eat. Simplicity wins every day. Because you just say, I watched some video, people who are like, why are you adding 1 million ingredients to one meal? Like, you just have 20, 80, 100 ingredients in just one meal. So keep it simple. So let's not add too much. I said, God love it. Okay, let's
Okay.
not add too much things. Okay.
Let's
Yeah, let's go off sugar. They're ready to let the sugar go. What about honey? Yeah, again, you want to limit your intake of things that you will need to add sweetener to. They put sugar in meat?
Yeah,
No.
yeah, we do. It's part
Do
of the barbecue process. You gotta dry rub it with some sugar, ketchup.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
whole thing. It's a thing.
you guys put sugar in meat? You put
yeah,
sugar
yeah,
in meat?
yes.
That's how we
We do.
dry rub it
Why?
for barbecue because you grilling it. Yeah, it's a sauce. It's like used for a barbecue sauce.
Barbecue sauce.
Put
So
pepper. Put pepper.
pepper,
Put
yeah.
pepper. Stop putting sugar. Put pepper.
Ginger and
Put
pepper,
pepper.
ginger and pepper anti-inflammatory. Anyway,
Yeah.
repulsive, gives me acid reflux, but love it. That happened to me before, and I stopped drinking coffee. Yeah.
But
I think-
yeah, listen to your body. If it gives you that, stop. Your body is saying something. Food is information. You get my point. So if your body says this, I don't want. Listen to your body and don't take it.
That's what my body
You
says about
love the
breakfast.
acid reflux. Don't like no.
No, I think what she
What?
said was she loves the coffee and the sugar, I guess, but then it gives her acid reflux. If I'm getting the question right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if
Okay.
it,
So
if it
that
gives you acid reflux, don't stop taking it.
that's right. That's right.
Or maybe you try decaffeinated coffee. Maybe that would be better. Maybe you try a decaffeinated one. Almond milk, yeah, as long as it's whole almond. So when you're buying food, just learn to read the ingredients. Don't just look at the front of the package, go to the small letters, okay, the small, tiny stuff, and then read what else have they added. If it's 100% almond milk, good. If they added maybe honey to sweeten it, look at how many grams of sugar per serving. So if they had honey, it's going to be, if you look at the nutritional information, they will give you sugar content per serving. If it's more than 3 grams, that means the honey. If it's more than 3 grams of sugar inside that, in the serving of that, and be careful, that is high. You want something that is between 3 to 5 grams of sugar. That is if you still eat things that has added sugar. If it's more than that, really, really be careful with that. Yes, I did not do the sugar. Oh, unsweetened one, that's fine. Agave syrup and date sugar, the sugar, as I said before, sugar is still sugar. So when you are adding it to your meal, be careful, how much you are adding. Or what I tell people, I really don't eat foods that require, personally, I don't eat foods that require to add sugar. Like, I drink gari. If you know what gari is, cassava flakes, we call it gari. You can actually drink it. You can use it to make swallow. We call it swallow, like, we call it eba here, but you can drink it. So my
So you don't add
hometown,
sugar to your Gary.
they, yeah?
You don't add sugar to your Gary. You drink it like that.
No, I don't, because it's fermented. We actually ferment the cassava, so it's actually sour. It has this sour taste because the cassava is fermented before they fry, before they do the drying. So it's fermented, so it has this sour taste. So I don't add sugar. It doesn't need sugar. I eat it. It slam your teeth like this, like you are drinking apple cider vinegar. That's the kind of sourness that you have from it. It doesn't require sugar. So I don't eat things that require added sugar, basically. So if I eat sugar, it is naturally occurring sugar in foods, maybe fruits, cassava, yam, the naturally occurring one. So I don't add sugar to my personally.
Okay.
So what seasonings do you use? Because we want to make sure that we still have food that's not all bland and European.
I don't know the way I'm talking as an African who lives in Africa. But like that was, if you want to add this sweetener to your stuff, so just use minimally. You have these healthy alternatives. You have dead sugar. Okay, if you still want to add them. Otherwise, I can't say don't eat, because most of the things that you guys eat require sugar. Like here, we don't eat a lot of things that require sugar. Is just like, it's like something we copy. So our foods don't require, if I you get my point, our cooking method don't require sugar. We don't cook stuff that require, except if you just want to do pepper. We don't cook things that require adding sugar. So because of that, but you know what you guys cook, most of the things you cook, but look for healthy alternatives. If you can add honey instead of sugar, the date sugar that somebody mentioned. Yes, sea salt. I use sea salt for that's what I use for seasoning. So look for healthy alternatives and then reduce how much you add. Okay, and if you eat lots of fruits and vegetables, if that makes up the majority of your diet, you may not need things that you add sugar to.
Okay. Yeah. So like you were saying, salt with ginger and pepper, like hot pepper.
Salt, yeah, for seasoning.
For seasoning.
Yeah, that's right.
It helps with the inflammation, right?
What did you say?
I say it helps with inflammation. Ginger and hot peppers, like cayenne.
Yeah, so they're actually good. You can add them to stuff. They're good for cooking, and all of that.
Yeah, and
yes.
I'll say
healthy alternatives are readily available.
For people here, particularly those people in the South and in America, salt is killing us too. So we got to make sure that we got to limit intake of salt and sugar.
Oh, so you eat as much salt as you do with sugar?
Yes. Salt causes hypertension. So we got a lot of people with blood pressure issues here.
And diabetes. Yeah. That's a big.
Then sodium diabetes, then okay. So then you need to begin to cut down on these things and go with foods that don't require them. Eat less of them and eat more of food that don't require too much added salt and sugar.
All right. Well, wow, we've done almost an hour 30 minutes I don't know where the time went, but it's been great. Yeah, Esther, thanks for joining us. Please give us your information, your Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'll type it out later.
My Instagram handle is @ZoneFitnessNG. Let me try and type it in if I can. Can I?
Yes, type it in.
I can't type anywhere.
See comments where it says private chat.
ZoneFitnessNG. It's @ZoneFitnessNG. Zone then fitness then NG as in Nigeria NG. That's my Instagram handle. Yes, that's my Instagram handle. I'm more active on Instagram than every other social media. That is the truth. Instagram is more. At Zone. Thank you so much. @Zone Fitness NG. That's my Instagram handle. Thank you. I'm more. Instagram is where I spend most of my time. I can't even remember the last time I posted on Twitter. Facebook, of course, from my Instagram page, everything goes to my Facebook page. Zone Fitness NG, same thing on Facebook. But I'm more active on Instagram than every other social media. Then my website is www.zonefitnessng.com. Same handle, zonefitnessng.com. That's my website.
Okay.
And my email address is esther@zonefitnessng.com.
Okay. Wow.
And I just want to do the standard disclaimer for everybody who is watching. This is a great way to connect to try to access some of the services. This is not the time to tell her your whole medical history and to try to get individual consultations. We always have to cut that off at the beginning because people take it too far. They'll be like, "Oh, look at this growth on my back. Can you tell me what it is and what I need to do to get rid of it?"
That's very good.
Yeah. Okay, so there we have it. We're gonna put this video up later on YouTube. So subscribe to our YouTube page and then get one of these t-shirts
Yes.
on our Pan Africana page. If you go to our shop on Pan Africana, you see it, Pan Africana with a fist. And then I have my other one here, over here. I know Jesse didn't get it.
Supposed to be getting here.
Okay,
They said this weekend. It says this weekend. I keep checking like Santa Claus for Christmas. So I keep checking outside, but it's not there yet.
Okay. Well, today we had a lot of engagement from Periscope and Facebook. Thank you, Ripons, and
thank you so much.
DJ Alrock. Thank you for joining us from Periscope.
Thank
and
you.
It was a pleasure. Jesse, take it away. Close us out.
Yeah, so if you haven't done so already, make sure that you all like us or subscribe to us at this point on YouTube, Pan Africana. And we will be back next Saturday, 12:30, God willing. And just make sure you continue to tell people about us, continue to spread the message, get the t-shirts because they're hot. Hopefully I get mine before y'all do. And and thank you all for tuning in once again.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
I had a great time.
Yeah. Well, thanks for making the time. Bye.
Thank you.